I knew something was off when my Slack access froze mid-sentence, right as I was typing delivering build to staging now. It glitched like a nervous cough, logged me out, then sent me back to a login screen that suddenly forgot my existence. I blinked, retyped my email, and hit enter. User not recognized. No warning. No HR email. Just digital vaporization. I stood there in my socks, burnt coffee in one hand, half-eaten protein bar in the other, staring at the monitor like maybe if I blinked slower, reality would change. It didn't. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed, a single email from Payroll. Subject line, compensation adjustment notice. Inside, due to an internal miscalculation, your Q2 bonus has been withheld. We apologize for any inconvenience. This decision is final, like it was a parking ticket. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I walked to the kitchen, took Lena's whiskey from above the fridge. She drinks like she codes, strong and neat, and poured myself 2 fingers worth of fury. Because this wasn't a mistake. This was personal. I knew at the moment I remembered that hallway conversation I wasn't supposed to overhear last month. The VP of product muttering to the CTO, she's getting too visible. Too loud. If she walks, she walks. We've got her code. They thought I was trapped. Because I poured my blood into their flagship app, I wouldn't dare leave the castle I built. But they forgot something. I didn't just build the castle. I blueprinted the damn thing in a notebook during my mother's chemo appointments. I stayed up 74 hours in a row the week the backend crashed. I solved their Firebase sync issue on a napkin in an Arby's. And worse, far worse for them, I never stopped backing it up. Not on their cloud, not on their repo. On mine. Offline. Local, paranoid level secure. By the time Lena came home, I had already unpacked the emergency laptop. The one with no stickers. The one with no history. The one that only booted once before. She looked at the whiskey. Then at my eyes. They took it, didn't they? I nodded. Her lips twitched, but she didn't smile. You gonna take it back? I didn't answer. I didn't need to, because it was already loading. And they had no idea that in trying to erase me, reactivated the version they were too dumb to secure. The one I'd once named in a fit of petty rage. Project Phoenix Zip. It was 3:12 a.m. when the first test server lit up. Quiet, private, untraceable. The hum of the fan was the only witness. Lena had passed out on the couch with her laptop still balanced on her thigh, some funding doc half-written, and a half-eaten croissant clinging to the edge of her hoodie like a battle scar. She didn't know it yet. Her startup was about to get its spine. Because here's the thing, the flagship app they loved so much. It wasn't just a mobile tool for sales teams. It was behavioral gold. I built in real-time decision logging, heat map analytics, a proprietary sync engine so tight it made Dropbox look clumsy. They knew that. That's why they tried to steal it with a smile and a sorry internal error. But they didn't know I'd coded a fail dependency inside the event manager, a line that meant without me, certain core actions would break gradually, subtly, not explode, just degrade like digital dry rot. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Unknown, you'll be taken care of. Let's talk Monday. I stared at it like it was dog shit on a lace napkin. No name, no company domain. Just enough condescension to let me know someone upstairs realized what I could do. I didn't respond. I forwarded it to Lena. Woke up 3 minutes later. Walked in, blinking, scratching her neck, hair sticking up like a malfunctioning anime character. You made a move already? I nodded toward the screen. My forked build, clean, faster, lighter, was already integrated into her MVP dashboard. I'd removed all legacy sludge and replaced the analytics with something nastier. Something that could read user behavior 3 clicks ahead and reconfigure the UI in real time. She stared at it. At me? This is what you gave them. No, I said. This is what I kept from them. She sat down, quiet, looked at the code like it was sacred. Then she asked the question I'd been avoiding for weeks. You ever gonna tell me why they really screwed you? I shrugged. Because I wrote something they didn't understand. And people who can't create usually punish the ones who can. She chewed her nail, so we launch, soft, quiet, controlled users only. And the app name. I clicked the file directory and hovered over the icon. Then I renamed it. Not Phoenix, not version 2, just one word, clarity. Because that's what revenge feels like when it's earned. And in exactly 6 days, their CMO would demo her product to investors. Not knowing that half the code on that screen would already be rerouted. Not knowing that her star developer had docked everything. Tuesday morning, I wore my best hoodie, one with the bleach stain shaped like Ohio, and sat in on the company-wide Zoom, camera off, mic muted, Username still active thanks to a dev account nobody remembered to revoke. They were unveiling the Q3 innovation strategy. Corporate buzzword salad, served with extra smug. The CTO, Mitchell, looked like a wax figure melting under bad lighting, rattling off vertical alignment and scalable trust. And there she was, Audrey, my old manager, corporate Stepford wife with LinkedIn eyelashes and a talent for forwarding my work under her own name. She started demoing my app, my code, my interface, my decision tree logic. Except she didn't notice the tiny UI shift I baked into the reroute script. See, I'd fed their demo version just enough fake data to look functional, but behind the curtain, the analytics pointed straight to Lena's startup server, cloaked behind a decoy subdomain and a redirect mask. Every click, every swipe, every user action during that shiny little demo logged on our side. See how smoothly the predictive flow works, Audrey chirped. It dynamically reacts to user friction in real time. I almost choked on my coffee. She didn't even know what that meant. She was parroting my words from a deck she once said was too technical for stakeholders. In the bottom corner of the screen, watched a dev I used to mentor squint at something. I recognized the frown. He just spotted a timestamp inconsistency. The breadcrumbs were starting to show. I left the call before anyone could sniff the trail. Back at Lena's place, she had already printed out the server logs like some kind of war general. She pointed at the spike in activity. You know what this means? I nodded. We've got proof of stolen code and unauthorized integration. She grinned like a knife. And we also have VCs waiting for an alpha. That afternoon, Lena sent a teaser email. One sentence. No logo, no links, just this, you've seen the knockoff. Now watch what the original can do. By Wednesday, 5 angel investors had replied. 2 wanted early access. 1 offered a ridiculous check with 5 zeros and a custom equity clause. Meanwhile, I got a call from Mitchell. Private number. I let it ring out. Voicemail, hey, listen, there's some discrepancy with the code base. Just hoping you could, maybe consult. Happy to compensate, of course. I played it on loop. The same man who once told me we own everything you touch on our laptops now wanted to pay me to explain the fire I'd lit. By nightfall, Audrey posted a smug LinkedIn update, thrilled to unveil our Q3 tech, empowered by radical innovation and cross-functional genius. The attached image, a screenshot of my UI, watermarked, except she didn't know that watermark was dynamic and would change based on IP address. Meaning by Thursday, the watermark would update to say, built by, clarity / not for corporate theft, and the entire investor pool would see it first. The watermark hit Thursday morning at 7:03 a.m., exactly as timed. Audrey's demo reel was already live on LinkedIn, Vimeo, and their investor portal. She must have uploaded it from her cozy, glass-walled office, oblivious to the ticking bomb stitched into every frame. By 7:12, Lena's phone started vibrating like it was trying to escape the countertop. 3 missed calls from the same venture partner who'd ghosted her last month. 4 more from his assistant. Then came the group email from their investor relations rep, subject line, clarification requested, IP attribution error. Inside, a politely frantic message asking why the product's hero feature bore the name of a direct competitor's tool, ours. I didn't smile. I grinned like I'd waited 6 winters for this moment. At 8:30, Audrey's profile vanished from LinkedIn for 6 hours. At 9:17, Mitchell called again. I answered this time. Silence for a second, like he couldn't believe I picked up. Then, okay, look, this is getting out of hand. I sipped my coffee and leaned back. Mean your innovation strategy is now trending under #IP theft on Twitter. He made a sound like a squirrel dying. I don't know what you think you're doing. I know what I'm doing, Mitch. I'm putting the real name on the code you whitewashed and shoved into Audrey's PowerPoint palace. We can fix this, look, you want your bonus? Retroactively? Fine, we'll even sweeten it with, I laughed. You think this is about money? He went quiet, kind of scared quiet where your brain starts running too many simulations, and they all end with lawsuits or viral threads. You tried to erase me, I said, but instead you signed your app over to my girlfriend's product roadmap. You're bluffing. Then check your analytics backend. I'll wait. I hung up before he could stutter. Lena was already putting on eyeliner like it was war paint. She had a meeting at 11 with a VC firm in Manhattan that had previously passed on her project citing limited tech infrastructure. Now, they were offering a glass-walled space and front-row seats to the demo. You ready to be introduced as our CTO? She asked. I'm not great at the tea part anymore, I said. but I can burn a code base like it's dry brush in August. She leaned over, kissed my temple, and whispered, "That's exactly what they need." By noon, Audrey had locked her social media. Mitchell had gone offline. Slack was full of frantic "do not deploy" messages. Too late. Their flagship build was already corrupted. Not by malware, by design. Every API call past Thursday noon, routed to a sandbox server we controlled, harmless, legal, and entirely visible to anyone who inspected the traffic. It was like watching someone dig their own grave with a backhoe while bragging about how ergonomic the shovel was. As the first investor tweets rolled in asking why the same product demo existed under two brand names, I poured another coffee. Because by the end of the week, it wouldn't be about who wrote the code. It'd be about who owned the story. And spoiler alert, it wasn't Audrey anymore. Friday started with a cease and desist. PDF attachment. Legal header. 3 pages of corporate gaslighting trying to convince me I had violated their IP rights by duplicating proprietary architecture in a competing context. I read it while brushing my teeth. Spit. Deleted. Lena glanced at my screen and said, "Cute. They finally remembered you exist." She was already dressed, black turtleneck, dark jeans, the startup armor of a woman about to eviscerate a boardroom with a PowerPoint and a pulse. "You ready?" she asked. "Been ready since they told me great work," with a $25 Starbucks gift card and a copy-pasted smiley face. The demo we were about to run wasn't public. It was invite only. 5 VCs, 2 journalists, and 1 former executive from my old company who had anonymously requested access from a Proton Mail account. I let him in. Of course I did. Launched Clarity in a converted loft space in Williamsburg that smelled like reclaimed wood and revolution. Lena opened the presentation with 2 slides. Slide 1. What happens when you build quietly? Slide 2. Live product walkthrough, no fluff. No 10-year plan. Just the code. My code. Performing in real time with real data pulled from a beta user pool that was already 10 times more active than our old employer's entire monthly active user count. One of the investors, an old guy in a Patagonia vest, leaned forward. "Wait, is this using adaptive sequence intelligence?" Lena nodded. "Proprietary engine. Predicts next action based on user hesitation and corrects the flow in 3 milliseconds. He let out a low whistle. "Who wrote it?" She smiled. "She's standing right there." I didn't blink. I didn't bow. I just clicked to the next screen where a heat map adjusted live across 4 regions. Meanwhile, back at the mothership, chaos. A former coworker messaged me from her personal account. "WTF is going on? Mitchell's in full meltdown. Audrey's blaming interns. Legal's losing it." "I didn't do anything illegal," I replied. And I hadn't. Not a single line copied. Not one NDA breached. I rewrote every module from scratch. Reimagined the UX. Refactored the logic tree. This wasn't their app with a new dress. It was my Phoenix with sharper claws. By noon, TechCrunch had posted a headline. "Ex-corporate dev launches rival tool, better, faster, cleaner." The article didn't name names, but it didn't have to. Anyone who'd seen Audrey's demo 2 days prior would recognize the bones. The difference? Ours didn't crash. Ours learned. At 3:47 p.m., my old company's app started showing 502 gateway errors across several regions. At 4:15, the internal Slack was leaked. Screenshots. Panic, someone blaming unauthorized integration. At 4:38, the investor portal was taken offline for scheduled maintenance. And by 5 o'clock, Lena got the text. "Interested in acquisition talks," from Mitchell. She showed it to me. I read it once, then again. Then I typed 1 word and hit send. Why? No response. Because they didn't want the product. They wanted the antidote. Saturday, I woke up to a bouquet of white lilies on our doorstep. No card, just a folded NDA sealed with a gold sticker. Classy, creepy, corporate. Lena picked it up with tongs like it might explode. "So they've gone full funeral now? Looks like they're mourning their IPO," I said, flipping the NDA open with a chopstick like it was radioactive. The language was aggressive in that desperate, lawyer-scented way. Basically, sign this, agree to stop development on Clarity. They'd consider a mid-6-figure settlement and potential reemployment. Retroactive, conditional, silent. They didn't get it. I didn't want their money. I wanted their shame. By 9 a.m., screenshots of Clarity's UI had hit Reddit, posted by a random beta user who said, "Finally, an app that doesn't treat me like a moron." It exploded. Tech Twitter picked it up next. Then came the threads. "This is what Redacted Corp tried to build, but failed. An Audrey name drop present this exact flow last week. Clarity is the same thing, except it works. We hadn't even launched to the public yet. Just a soft invite list, a whisper campaign, and the code. But code speaks louder than apologies. At noon, Audrey resurfaced, on Medium of course, posting a 3,000-word manifesto titled Innovation, Integrity, and Iteration. A personal reflection. It was every inch the guilt-soaked spin of a drowning executive trying to crawl out of her own shadow. She used the word disruption 17 times. She never once said my name. At 12:38 p.m., I did a quote retweet with one sentence. Funny how integrity gets louder when your calendar's empty. It went viral in under an hour. By 3 o'clock, Lena and I were at a rooftop bar sipping overpriced gin, while my phone buzzed nonstop with feature requests, higher offers, and one email from her. Linda, my former VP, the one who once told me you're brilliant but hard to manage. She was now exploring new opportunities. Translation, fired. Her email was short, well played. If you're hiring, I'd love a chat. I showed it to Lena. She laughed so hard she nearly dropped her drink. They'll all come crawling, she said, every snake from that den. Wait till they see what you do next. I tapped her glass with mine. Next. Not done, she said. We've only just proven you exist. Now we show them what they missed, and she was right. Because what I'd built out of spite was starting to become something sacred. Not just revenge, not just correction, but creation. And nothing terrifies old power more than a woman they tried to erase, writing a new system without them. By Sunday, Mitchell cracked. Not publicly, he was too seasoned for that, but I knew the signs. The frantic back-end pings, sudden GitHub pull, requests from a ghost account tied to his college-era username, and the 7-minute visit to Clarity's landing page from an IP in Palo Alto, labeled Redacted Corp Exec VPN. I watched it in real time, sipping burnt diner coffee with Lena across from me sketching UI upgrades on a napkin. They're trying to figure out how deep the knife went, she muttered. Too late, I said, refreshing our beta waitlist count. It crossed 12,000. And then came the break in the dam, an anonymous Medium leak posted by someone inside their legal team. A step-by-step timeline of who signed off on the bonus retraction, who greenlit Audrey's fake demo, who knew the app was built on stolen logic and pushed it anyway. It didn't name me, but it didn't have to. Redacted Corp's shame was now public property. Audrey's LinkedIn quietly updated to career sabbatical. Mitchell's profile went dark. The entire product division stopped tweeting. And the real kicker? 2 of their biggest clients, one telecom giant, one finance app, reached out to us. They didn't ask who copied who. They asked, can Clarity scale for enterprise? Lena and I just looked at each other. We're not ready, she whispered. We weren't supposed to be, I said, but they launched us. That night, we didn't sleep. Whiteboarded architecture across every surface of our apartment. Coffee cups stacked like artillery shells. Pizza crusts marking time zones. I took 3 calls with back-end engineers from my old Slack DMs, quiet, brilliant people who'd once apologized for staying silent when Audrey took credit for my work. They wanted in, not for money, for revenge by excellence. By 2 a.m., we had a roadmap that would make their dev team cry. Auto-learning UI, modular plugins, API hooks that could absorb legacy databases like candy. And at the bottom of the draft, I wrote in Sharpie, they tried to erase me, so now I'll rewrite them. Lena looked at it, nodded once, and added, no buyouts, no NDA. We burn the bridge, then build our own damn city. The next morning, Clarity's homepage changed. No pitch. No press release. Just 5 words in bold white text on black. You deserved better. We built it. Broke product hunt in under 6 hours. And somewhere in the chaos, Mitchell sent one final email. If we admit fault privately, can we work something out? I replied with a screenshot of their own NDA. The line that said, we reserve the right to terminate employment at will, with or without cause. And below it, I added my own line. Termination goes both ways. They thought it would end in silence. That I'd take the offer, vanish behind some polished press release, let them repaint the timeline like it was always theirs. That I'd fold like I owed them closure. Like they were the ones who got robbed. Instead, I went live. No filters, no blazer, just me, one mic, and the truth. I called it what they erased. 15 minutes, no script, just the facts. How they docked my bonus by mistake. How they demoed my code without understanding it. How they tried to crush the author and steal the manuscript. And how I took it back, line by line, server by server, heartbeat by heartbeat. I didn't name names. I didn't need to. People filled in the blanks faster than their PR team could draft a denial. That video hit 2 million views in 48 hours. It wasn't vengeance. It was reclamation. And the fallout, Audrey's speaking gigs evaporated. Mitchell quietly retired. Their flagship app got delisted from 2 major platforms over data transparency concerns. Internal whistleblower confirmed they'd lost 3 of their top 5 clients. Meanwhile, Clarity, we closed our first funding round at 8 figures. We onboarded 40,000 users in 2 weeks. Lena's name hit the Forbes tech list. Mine trended under #CodebackQueen. But the real win, Monday morning, I opened my inbox to find a message from a young dev. First job, first burn. They told me I was replaceable, but then they told me to build like you. And I sat there, in my hoodie, on the floor of our too-small apartment, holding the world we'd built with duct tape and spite. And I finally smiled, because revenge burns hot, but legacy, that scorches forever. Thanks for joining the fun, you office survivors. Subscribe for more switch-flicking drama. Let's make your former coworkers sweat.